I am Brandon.
Yeah. I'm not ready for tonight.
No, I don't think any of us are.
I'm illy.
Together we are. They think.
We're cute.
Wow. They think we talk. What up? Coolest podcast ever.
We're on episode 4.
Episode 4.
Episode 4.
4.
Already. And everybody probably thought today wasn't going to happen because this is the latest we've done it, but whatever. But we're on episode 4 and you guys have voted that today's topic is going to be anxiety, depression, and suicide and what it's like to have it and be in a relationship or your spouse having it. So this ought to be a fucking fun one.
It's going to be tight. Sorry, I'm just adjusting everything on the mixer, making sure everything's good. I should have done it before, but I'm just looking, double checking. Yeah. Do not do the gun fingers. Anyway, whoa.
I'm good.
It's
ready to go.
One of those weird nights, guys. It's been a long day.
This will probably be the most energized one.
Yeah.
And then we'll turn off the camera and we'll just fall in bed.
After the bath.
Oh.
Okay, Stream Deck.
What the fuck
Stream Deck just did a little glitch. Did you see that? Look at it.
Wow, it looks ridiculous. Well, let's give it a second. Burning up all of a sudden.
All right. Welcome to the podcast, everybody that is now just joining us, if you are. And hello to the people that are going to be viewing this later. Now, the thing is, babe, how was your beautiful day?
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, how was your day?
Well, to be honest, my day lands into today's topic.
Yep.
I stayed in bed for hours, sitting on the edge of the bed, not talking to anybody. And I was extremely...
Hold on.
Oh, I talked to you.
Let's back up really quick. Let's talk about this morning.
Oh, this morning I was in a great fucking mood.
Yeah, I'm like
I am right now.
You jumped to a conclusion. I stayed in bed all day, depressed as fuck. No, we had a great...
The day, yeah. Morning, day, night. That's how I see it.
In the morning, we had a great morning, I think.
Yeah. We woke up. We went and got Starbucks as usual. Went to the mall to get a few stuff. And then once we got home, it...
Just like your phone.
And my anxiety sat there for hours.
Jesus Christ.
I'm in a great mood now.
Do we have to restart this podcast or what? God damn, let it out. I swear, people are going to comment, dude, Illy looks stoned as fuck. You are acting high. You look high. Your eyes are redder than the devil's dick. You got the hoodie on. You got the hoodie on. You look like a total gangsta with the kitty ears.
I know you like my ears. He bought me ears today. That's why I'm in a good mood.
Show everybody your nice little meow.
No.
But yeah, this morning was great, and then later on it seemed like
Illy fucked it all up.
I was the bad guy.
I don't know.
I got my engagement ring handed back to me. Let's start it off with there.
Oh, well then it's, today, honestly, maybe it was a good one for today. That's kind of why we didn't do the podcast earlier, because I was just like, no, fuck, no. I didn't have any problems. There was nothing wrong. Brandon didn't really do anything. It was just one of those days, but it was also one of those days where I couldn't just pop one of my pills because I now have new medication from my doctor and I haven't tested it yet. And it's supposed to be on a day that I stay home, and we never stay home. So I haven't tested it. So if I take it, I can't drive. And we're never, only one person has a license right now. So if we need to go somewhere, we're going to die in the car, and I'd be okay with it. But he doesn't want that to happen. So I didn't take my medication today. So I was kind of just like, fuck everybody.
Yeah.
It wore off.
Yeah, it did.
After you wrestled me like hardcore. Yeah, I took my engagement ring off and gave it to him, and I told him I'm leaving. And then maybe within moments of that,
WWE happened, fucking WrestleMania.
Put your ring back on. Put your ring back on. And I kept saying no, and he wrestled me down. And I mean, this went from where the whole house probably thought that he was abusing the fuck out of me because I was screaming help and I was yelling at the top of my lungs, and he's shoving my face in the pillow, and he's just fighting to get this finger to shove it on.
My entire hand, like,
holding it,
around
gripping it
finger.
with me on lockdown just to put the ring back on. And that fight went on for a good 10 minutes, and I'm surprised this house didn't ask if we were okay. Why did nobody care?
Yeah, nobody cared. Nobody called 911.
So now I know.
If
family.
I was gonna murder you, I could get away. Get away with murder. So let's hop into anxiety. Topic 1 of the day of the podcast.
Great.
Anxiety. Fucking anxiety. This would be a smooth operator. Anxiety. Something that every single human goes through, and no matter what you say, you can't lie about it. Everyone goes through anxiety. Everyone
I go
does.
through it.
Everybody
I'm
does.
proud to say it.
If you're a human being on this earth, you go through anxiety.
Everybody's got different kind of levels of it.
I have a little story. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know what anxiety was until I was around 16, actually.
You're lucky.
Yeah. Like
it sucks that you had to go through it, but you're lucky that it wasn't while younger.
At a young age. I just didn't know the word. I didn't know how.
So after you learned about it, you realized you probably had it longer.
I was feeling like shit one day because I stayed home from school, and I had this huge panic attack, and my mom was like, "Calm down, you're just having anxiety." And then once like she told me the definition of it, I like took a breath and I was like, "Oh, I am not dying. I'm just having anxiety."
That's exactly what it kind of feels like.
Yeah. So that's the crazy topic about anxiety. It is awful, Melissa. It is. Jesus fucking Christ,
I don't know what's wrong,
woman.
but I'm telling you, we're on a topic
Blow
that's
it
going to
over
be
here or over there. Like the sound
they
is
want to hear it. We're on a topic that's like going to be hard to talk about on some situations, and it's a sucky, shitty, awful one. But I'm keeping it alive here. I'm keeping the happy moments.
Can I just say my new shorts are beautiful? And
show them. Stand up and show these beautiful legs.
Let's see the new shorts, everybody.
You're gonna give everybody anxiety right now. Yeah. Pretty.
And new shoes. Yeah, that's what cured my anxiety. I'm just kidding. No, so anxiety is crazy because a lot of things can play with anxiety, and a lot of things can start it, and a lot of things can make you feel. You can seriously tell yourself, okay, you have cancer. And you think about it and your anxiety hits, and then throughout that entire moment, you're going to feel symptoms that you've never felt before. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like
your head turns into Google.
Yeah, dude, for real. Your head really turns into fucking Google.
I kind of feel like that's what anxiety is. Anxiety's definition would be Google thoughts.
Yeah. I have a wart on my nipple. Am I dying? Yes, you have cancer. That's anxiety right there. It's that little voice in the back of your head saying,
yes,
fuck you. But yeah, no, growing up, I really didn't know the word anxiety, but I felt it a lot. I had a perfect life growing up. I had an awesome dad and an awesome mom that I still do have. I was the golden boy out of two other boys, the youngest. And, I grew up, anything that I wanted, I got.
He still does.
Not really, but, and then I grew older, and my dad pretty much just said...
You grew older, boy? You still young.
My dad pretty much just said that... he didn't really say it, but he kind of showed it. He didn't want to be a father to me anymore. And, that's where I get a lot of my, like, depression from. But, like, I noticed as I was getting older, my dad was pushing away from me because he got remarried, had adopted this girl who's now my stepsister, but going through that, I now know that was the feeling of anxiety of every day having to go to my dad's because I really didn't want to see my stepmom, and I didn't really want to stay there anymore when I had to get forced there. And so that was that feeling of anxiety of having to go to a situation where I felt uncomfortable, and being there fucked with my head a lot because I would fake being sick, and it would make me actually start feeling like I was sick. And I would miss out a lot in school. shit ton. But yeah, anxiety played that role in me.
And you still actually, like, you know, I know of the backstory about, you know, dad not being around and stuff. And, you know, we've passed through him. And it's like, you've told me a few times, like, some of the situations of your depression parts. But then I've actually gotten to, like, it's different because, like, you know, his dad's not around. And there's been a moment where, you know, I've never seen him, never met him. You know, we did send him a picture like, hey, we're getting engaged.
You've been less than 15 feet away from him, too.
And he didn't respond to our engagement photo. And then all of a sudden we go into a restaurant and my mother-in-law's in there. We go to eat and he's in there. We're all surrounding him and he acts like none of us exist.
Yeah.
And then to see Brandon, like, message his mom, like, my dad's in here. And he's texting his mom, who's, like, a few tables away, but then he's talking to me, and then he's not even focusing that we're here for lunch. And then, like, everybody's kind of getting up and walking around, and then that's all he's thinking about, and that's all he's thinking about, and it's all he's thinking about, and it's all he keeps talking about. And then later, after, like, everybody leaves the building, he's like, I should have walked up to him. I should have went and talked to him. So then that's what happens to him, is because then now he's regretting, like, I should have did this, and I should have said this. And it's like, then he lets it go, and then it's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you type of thing. And then later on, he's like, you know what, if I ever see him again, I'm gonna just go up to him and just say something like, I just want to know why I don't exist in your life anymore. But then when it happens, he shuts down again. So he kind of doesn't get past any of it because he doesn't know how to let go, but doesn't want to let go, but wants to heal it. So you're kind of like still fixing yourself.
It's a problem in my life that I go through and I think about a lot, even though I never wish harm upon somebody. I just really wish, you know, karma comes around and fucking bites him in the ass, and he realizes, like, that he lost something of his life that he'll never be able to get back. And that's me. You know, he has another son, but, you know, like, he doesn't even want to, like, be a part of his life either.
True.
But that's something that, like, really eats me alive on the daily, is that I don't have a dad. And, like, you physically don't have a dad. And it's hard.
We've had that conversation.
We've had that discussion where it's hard to realize that, like,
it feels the same while it's not the same.
Like, your dad has passed away. My dad's still alive, but to me, my dad is dead to me.
But then I also had my stepdad, who was a part of my life, and then this was barely the first few years I've had to go without him. So, you know, I only have him if we ever talk. So it's like, it sucks. Yeah. And it's like, as much as you want to be around him and be able to, like, do stuff with Bobby and stuff, and we would love to, it's just we can't. But then we also don't have any type of father figure anywhere else. But then we can't with your dad.
Yeah, because what's shitty is that we are grown adults that have no fatherly figure. Even though my mom was a double parent.
And does amazing.
Fucking shout out to my mom. Best mom ever. She's out in the other room. When you're watching.
Shout out, Mama!
Shout out, Mama.
She's like, what?
She raised 3 boys on a fucking budget, too. Like, yeah, my dad was wealthy and we were rich back in the day, but, you know, times get tough and shit. And, you know, my mom's been through a downfall and stuff like that. And
but it's like, look where everybody's at now. The whole family's, like, back together.
I know.
Your brother over there is doing amazing for himself and happy. Your brother in here is doing amazing for himself and happy. You, I guess you're all right.
I'm all right. But it's like, fuck, dude. I know a lot of people that has had a harder life than me, and I don't want to ever wish anything like that upon anybody, but that's where my depression and anxiety, and couldn't really say thoughts of suicide with it, but that's what really hits me the most on a day-to-day. And it's probably going to be something that's going to be stuck in my head for the rest of my life. I don't think I will ever be able to have a relationship with him, even if he came out and wanted to have one with me. Mm-hmm. I could stay on a cool, mellow...
But that you've talked about that. Is that if it ever came down and you guys spoke again, all you would like to patch up is what happened and why am I not a part of your life, but you don't want that relationship no more. You just want answers.
I want reassurance of why he didn't want to be a part of my life. That's all I want to know. That's truly
what really happened.
What went through your head to say, you know what?
And then now when you pass me, why am I just a stranger? I can feel that and understand that. I really can.
Yeah.
I really can, because I was the same way while growing up and stuff. You know, my dad passed away when I was 8 years old, but, like, within, like, the very small memories I have of him, I literally only have, like, a few, but I always like throughout growing up is I love my stepdad. Like, I do. I've seen you watching these. It's like I always wondered all the way up until I was an adult is if I was ever able to talk to him, I'd wonder, why did you choose drugs knowing that you had me and knowing what was going on? And why did you choose all this stuff? Like, you literally chose life and death right in front of you. And that's what you picked.
You had the miracle of life in front of you, but you chose...
It wasn't enough for you to stop it and let go and get away from everything else you were doing. So, obviously he had his problems and it took... But, because then it, it's like... And as much as the stories all my family tells me, my mom tells me, and all the pictures that I have, like, he obviously did love me, but why was it not enough to let that go?
Exactly.
Whether or not you were with my mom, it's still,
for the rest of your life.
And it did for the longest time. And I think, like, all throughout growing up, it hurt a lot, like, not having him around, even though I had like a really, really great father around. It's just like in general, you just let certain things like that eat you alive for years.
My teacher said this on her first day that we got the new teacher and stuff because the old one left. She was saying that like she was giving us about her life, and she was saying like both of her parents are passed away, but she's 56 years old, and it still eats her alive, saying like she misses her parents. And then it gets to me, and I'm like, yeah, like how old you get will never change the fact that even if you never had a strong relationship with your parents and you lose both of them, they're no longer in your life until whatever happens next.
True.
And even though my dad's not dead, it's just like, I think about it too, like my dad is out of my fucking life.
But a piece of it feels like it because he's also not here.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But I can't imagine like having a father or a mother die. Like I know if my dad ever dies, like it's gonna hit me, of course. Yeah. Because I've had
because you have that he's still family and he's your father.
I came out of his testicles.
You have memories with him, but I couldn't even tell you to explain to you what it's like. I think it'd be different like if I lost my mother because I've had all these years with her. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But with coming from my father, I don't really remember much, so it's like. It hurts because I do remember the funeral, so it sucks that that's literally like the last image I have of him. Like all those pictures I have of me and him, I don't remember any of those, not one bit. But I do remember exactly what he looked like at his funeral.
Your dad looked like a fucking cholo.
Dad was badass.
Your dad's handsome, badass.
But no,
my dad's just a dick.
That is something totally different. But
my dad looks like Mark Wahlberg, I think. Or Adam Sandler. No, more of Adam Sandler, I think my dad looks like. But that's getting off topic. What about anxiety for you? I kind of jumped over you on anxiety and kind of went to depression.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. What about your anxiety?
We don't want to talk about that.
You want to skip that one and wait for a different time?
We just skip today's podcast now.
Let's just skip. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Later.
Anxiety. Fuck.
Fucking anxiety.
That's going to be like a tough one. There's several people on my Instagram that know about my story, and a lot of them have gone through it. I kind of like don't want to talk about it, but then it's like now the new people that are on here don't know about it. So it's like the part of us being real and honest on here, I'm like leaning on, do I want to talk about it? Do I not? But I do, but I don't.
All I can say is say whatever you feel comfortable saying. And I love you.
I'm hungry.
I gave you my wings.
But I want cake.
Well, if we finished, it'll still be open. We'll go to Save Mart before we watch a movie with Mom.
If I'm a good girl and I answer all the questions, can we go get some
snacks? Okay. Yes, queen.
Okay. My anxiety didn't, honestly, I don't even know when it started. Okay, so all throughout if I start crying on this podcast, I swear I'm going to flip this table over because I do not want to cry on camera.
You can hide yourself right here and I'll do the rest of the podcast.
I'm going to like pull my sweater close.
No. Just come right over here and I'll do the rest of the podcast.
As long as my sweater don't have strings.
Yeah, you lose all your strings.
They got taken out. Okay, so.
Illy time. Story by Illy. Written and directed by Illy. Narrated by Brandon.
Just not one to be talked about.
When I was 15.
Shit. I'm trying to like think. And honestly, I don't think I got any of my anxiety until around the time that I ended up getting married. I just dealt with depression when I was younger because, like, how do I explain it? As a kid, all the way, oh my God, my mom's watching this. Okay, so I'm going to say now, because I've told you every single time that you hear stuff and watch stuff, is it her?
No, just such a strong
there's probably going to be a few more things you're going to hear about my life that you didn't know about. So please don't bring it up when you call me tomorrow. So, like, as a kid and growing up, I've been through sexual abuse nonstop at different ages, all the way up until I was an adult. A lot of it as a kid, I didn't really go through anxiety or depression when it happened because at that time, I don't think I knew that it was wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you were too young.
So it was like, this is when we lived in Pismo, and it's like, when it happened, it was a lot of, during that time, my mom was using drugs and stuff, and there was a lot of stuff going on. And then there was always a lot of people over. And this was during the time when I told you why I love Michael Jackson. As much as he hates Michael Jackson, I have my reasons.
Yeah.
But my mom would put Michael Jackson on a lot for me. And, you know, I don't know if at the time it was like a distraction thing. Like, here, watch this while we go do our thing, you know? Yeah. So I loved Michael Jackson, and she knew my whole life I did. Like, still as a teenager stuff, she still bought me stuff of Michael Jackson. It held a big place in my heart. It was a really good distraction in life. He made me happy. And so, like, I just always remembered watching Michael Jackson on our TV. And then there was this dude that would always come and, you know, for the party life of them. And then, it's like the way as a kid going through that, it was like they literally tell you, like, with people, and they're like, you know, don't tell your mom or dad or anything. I'll give you a piece of
candy.
Yeah, it's just like they ease it to you, like there's really nothing going wrong, and then, you know, then they have their easy, nice threats of what will happen if you do. So it's kind of like, okay. So then I didn't get scared. I didn't get my anxiety. I didn't get my depression, but it wasn't until, like, after a while for once, then it's like I didn't want to. So then once I, like, started to, like, kind of, like, pull away or say no is when I started to kind of get scared. So I just didn't like when just that particular person came around. But I still didn't know what to do as a kid because I'm being told, you know. So it's like, as a kid, I didn't really go through all those type of things. But then, like, when I got older and I hit in, like, you know, like school age type of stuff, like junior high, and then, like, stuff happened again, is when I started to learn what was wrong. And then it, like, backtracked, and I realized, like, what happened as a kid was not supposed to happen. And, like, how did I not know, like, tell your mom or somebody, you know? It didn't click. And so then as a junior, I held on for so long of just, like, hiding it. Nobody knew anything for years. I did really well of spending time with my family, doing family things, going to church, getting involved in church, all my artsy craftsy stuff that I did, sports, everything. I did what I had to do, and I kept a smile on my face, and I actually loved everything I was, like, doing, but I hid it so well. So it wasn't until I was an adult when my family actually found out everything that happened to me. And so it's just because I felt like I did wrong for not speaking up when I should have. So when we had some fucking shit at school, I shouldn't say it like that. When we had something at school and they had, like, these people that came in to, like, talk to you about, like, things that go on at home and, like, whatever. I don't really know what those would be. It's kind of like a therapy thing, I guess.
It's not even a therapy. It's because of the fact that a lot of kids do grow up being sexually abused. So I think it's their way of anything. It's teaching you. It's to figure out if you're at home in a healthy establishment, because a lot of kids on the daily that are in elementary school. Oh, it would blow everybody's minds if they knew. There's kids at schools in our city that go through it on the daily. For reals. And still to this day, and it'll be people that, you know, it's crazy. That's why, like, when I first started doing, like, my inkdography and
few years back, and I learned how many people was going through this stuff, and it was all people that was like my clients, my friends, and I'm like, oh my god. So like not until I like started to first get my first relationships, and then yay me, my first relationship happened to be like my first like real physical abuse. So then that was like when I first learned about depression. It was just, it hit. But my depression still came from me hiding everything from everybody. So that's like it's a build up and it's worse. So that's when I started like, you know, it was an embarrassment thing. My family didn't know, my friends didn't know, like people didn't know, but it's like I don't know how to explain how I had to like deal with it. It happened at a freaking party that we went to that I shouldn't be attending while in that age, but you know, and then it got recorded. So it's like a whole lot happened at such a young age. And then like within the process of that, the way I dealt with the feelings of being like raped by my boyfriend at the time before high school is I turned to like really dark music that just made me feel better, because like the lyrics in it just kind of fit in, been to that, you know, and then just turned into like a lot of hateful negative poetry in a book that I'd keep hidden away, and then it turned into a lot of self-harm. And then so like I grew up into that. Then obviously high school got worse, and then out of high school it got worse. You know, my last I like right out of high school, obviously right around the time frame of meeting my ex-husband and stuff, and then that's when that incident happened, and my best friend at the time, Sarah, had to rush me to the hospital, and everybody was there. Like Freddie showed up, Jared showed up, Raymond was there. This is like all my exes, my best friends, and then all of a sudden my family's in there, and then the police are there, like everybody and their mama was there. And then that's when my family found out. My family had heard, like, you know, this happened, like she was raped by blah blah blah, you know, so she's getting a case open right now and she's in the hospital. But then what happened was then the truth came out, like this wasn't the first time.
Yeah.
So then, you know, my family I was close with because I lived with them and did everything with them, but I wasn't close with enough to where I felt like I need to sit you down and talk to you about what's going on, you know? So I wasn't happy. So that's where I started getting depression and anxiety, because now I started feeling like I was being judged by my family, because it's everything I did is, are you going to be okay? Will you talk to me? And like, can you keep in contact with me? And I'm like, oh my God, just leave me alone. I'm fine, you know?
Yeah. And that reminds me of like when we were watching Sons of Anarchy. Remember when that one girl gets raped by the carnies? And like the cops are trying to figure it out, but the girl, she was 15 or 16, and she doesn't want to answer any question because she is so embarrassed, and she feels like everyone is like blaming her. And
that's exactly what you go through.
I think a lot of rape victims
feel exactly
like it's their fault, or
but it's crazy
trying
because
to blame them.
Even being like a rape victim, I don't even know how to explain why that is even a thought. It's just you start to think, because like I apologized so much for that days. I know I should have been at school, and I know I should have told you where he's at, and I know Raymond, I was supposed to be with him, and it's like it was all this lined up, when in reality he just shouldn't have done what he did.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't go to school, and maybe I had been drinking some, and then blah 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 blah, but it's your first thing to do, but then you know, it's just, I don't know, it's just the way how everything goes. I ended up becoming fine like after a while, but then it was like right after I think I got married was I thought it was fine and everything was fine, but then that's when I learned everything wasn't fine, and that's when my whole entire life had changed. And it just like, I like don't know if it's like how life works with that stuff. It like waits, like, oh, you're doing really well right now, like you just got married, you had a kid, like you got a house, let me fucking torture you now. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know why things started happening, because it just like, I just remember the first time it ever happened, I was just like asleep, and my ex-husband like rolled over and put his arm around me, and that's when I had told you, like I flipped the fuck out. I got so scared, like my whole entire mindset while I was asleep took me back to what happened.
And that's something that I go through with you, is on nights where you're having bad dreams, even though it's about something else.
And then, but see, these ones with you, I don't realize that I'm asleep or when I wake up. Like I wake up, and sometimes I have, and I'm like, I had a really one of those nightmares, but sometimes I don't realize it.
I've woken up from her like just moving around, and I'll put my arm around her, and
but you know, this is coming from like, you know, I'm 30 now, and the last time an incident happened was years before I was with you.
And I'll put my arm around you or like touch you and make sure you're okay, and you flip out on me because you know you're in a totally different stage of mind at the time. You're still half asleep and you're dreaming of this, and you think I'm somebody else, and like. It's fucking scary to see that, to know that like the person that I love is next to me and I'm trying to make sure you're okay. And then the fact that like you're scared, even though like you trust me and shit, but it's just like, it hits me. I'm like, fuck, you think I'm someone else. And even though you're not trying to, but God damn it, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, it's scary. I think about like every night almost. If I'm going to bed and you're going to bed next to me, is tonight going to be a night where you're going to have a terrible dream and not realize that I'm right here next to you?
And it's not like we've like figured out like some sort of a pattern. It's not like if I go to bed already having anxiety or depression, or I had a bad day, like I can go to bed so happy, and then I'm just like,
you can go to bed watching a Disney movie
happy.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it just
feeling
happens.
Amazing, everything, and it just happens out of nowhere.
And I can't even explain. And it's like
you visually remember it, but you can't explain it. Yeah,
I've still even told you. And it's like, for some reason, I've told myself like a million times, like I should keep a book around just to be able to write down what I do remember or something. But it's like, then again, I don't want to, because like for years in high school, I did that. Like I have those books in one of these chests, and it's like I went and reopened one of them when I moved in, and I was like, oh my, I don't remember ever writing those down, but when I'm reading it, I feel like I'm reading somebody else's book. You know what I mean? I'm not like, oh my God, I remember writing this and how I felt about this. I'm reading it going like, it would be like if you read it thinking like, oh my God, Illy, like you went through this and this is how you felt. Like that's how I felt. And so I like when I went through the incident of, you know, the human trafficking, and I went through all that, like, I remember a lot of it, and I remember a lot of pieces to it, but because of how much, like, drugs, like, had, like, been injected in me at the time is why I think I don't remember most of it. So then it's crazy how after years of healing from that and all the therapy and counseling I had to go through and all this stuff, how now I can be sleeping perfectly fine, and then if I get a nightmare, pieces of it just come through that I don't even remember.
Even if you're having like a nightmare of like scary ghost, or like you've said you've had nightmares about like we're locked inside of a house, but little pieces from that night or from multiple nights will interfere and come
exactly. So it's like just a typical nightmare, me and you being locked in a house for some reason out of nowhere, and we ran out of cereal, but one of the rooms we walked into happens to be one of the rooms from when, you know, I was being so it's like, it's just fucking gnarly how nightmares work. I don't understand it, but like, so it's basically led to where today, I mean, I don't get the nightmares as much as what I used to. I used to get them so bad.
Almost like Life is Strange. Remember when you're going through the dorms, the different rooms, and it keeps repeating?
Yeah.
In a different character, and it keeps repeating? That's almost like what you're trying to describe. I
want to play that again.
We need to play number 2.
Okay.
I'll download it tonight.
Yeah.
But no, I wanted to, like, I mean, I held in something that you were the first to know, like before my mom, like about my dad, and I never told anyone. And I still to this day don't know how I kept it in so good.
It's kind of a surprise.
I don't know how I did.
Because I don't know. But you know what I feel like is maybe it could be the same for you, because how, you know, I had like amounts of buildup of all this stuff I was hiding from everybody up stuff, but I think the only reason why I was able to hide it so well and not have to open up is because at the time I wasn't giving off red flags like something was wrong. So nobody had a question. But then also at the time I wasn't I wasn't around a whole bunch of people that have gone through it as well. So it never had to kind of slightly come up in conversation. Like if I talk about stuff and then it eases through. So it's like,
I've never had to either.
I feel like I just was never put in the position where I had to speak about it. Nobody had ever asked to, has anything ever happened to you that you like, I've never had to be put in a position. So I literally was on lockdown.
Because when the people came to my school and was asking me stuff about that, it never happened. It was after that.
Right.
And then I was never put into a situation where that topic brought up, like, have you ever been sexually, touched in any way, shape, or form?
Mm-hmm.
Has someone ever touched you here? And I never been brought up in a conversation like that. And I remember that day vaguely that we took that bath, and then randomly I just got hit with depression because something about my dad, and then I finally told someone, and it was you. And then the only other time it got brought up was when the whole incident with Mark and Mom, we were all fighting, and I brought it up to her, and she didn't even believe me. Like,
oh yeah, I remember that day. That was the day that we almost moved out, wasn't it?
Yep.
Just because from stuff that happened.
Yeah, and I told my mom, and I don't think she's ever brought that up again. But yeah, no, I mean, of course, not as worse as you, but in any way, shape, and form, if anyone's been.
But because how you brought that up, because, I've been through stuff, but of course not as worse as you. I hear that a lot. And back in the day, I used to not be able to talk about it. If there would be a movie on and there would be a rape scene, my eyes would be bawling, and I'd be freaked out, and I'd be leaving. I had to be on medication. Yeah. If people make comments or like nowadays, if people make jokes about raping somebody, it's like whatever. But back then, I shoot down, because I was hiding everything. But that's when things would become uncomfortable. But when now, I'm surprised I'm doing okay talking about all this, but nowadays, when somebody brings up about past sexual abuse, it flies right over my head. I feel like within the years, I went through years of depression, years of self-harm, therapy, counseling, hiding, police, all this stuff. And then I think I had to find my own way to heal, which was doing my art on people. It was telling a story, which is what Sarah helped me with. It was just,
you were a caterpillar that went into its cocoon and blossomed to a beautiful butterfly. That's what you did.
Oh, you think you're genius, aren't you?
I am. But yeah, no, I kind of overthink it too now that you say it. Because we do talk to a lot of people that have talked about being raped and stuff like that, and
I also like how you kind of approach out of it. Everybody, okay, well, I'm not gonna, I don't know how to not throw names out here. There's two different sided type of different people that's in my life that's been there during the growth of what I've been through. And a lot of people that I had been with, we could be around a group of people and somebody mentioned about their past and sexual abuse, or they could just be talking about sexual abuse, and then all of a sudden, let's just stop that conversation so everybody could be like, Illy, are you okay? Do you want to talk about this or not? Illy's gone through a lot. And I'm like, bro, I'm fine. I've healed myself. Do you want me to talk about it instead?
It's like if somebody has
But you don't do that to me.
No, yeah.
You'll put your hand on me every now and just to, as a comfort thing of I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Or if you, and it lets me know if we want to walk out, we could walk out. But you're not the autumn moment that we hear something is shut it off and let's put the attention and surround it about what she's gone through. I literally have gotten to the point where I almost feel like I haven't gone through that. Because it does not bother me. The only thing that bothers me is that I get anxiety to the fucking max, and I've got to be on medication. And I hate it. And then, obviously, then it's turned into where I'm very suicidal, and now we deal with that.
Yeah. But you're not super suicidal.
I'm not attempting it in front of your face type of soup.
Yeah. You throw it around a lot, but
I'm not going to sit here and attempt it.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I have thoughts of dying, and not just death in general, but ending my own life. And it's the same way for one of my brothers is we think about it quite a bit, but I don't think in my entire life I could ever do it unless, I lost everything. I lost you, I lost my mom.
That's the shitty part is mine is if I'm not on my medication and that's in my head, in my head, I don't really give a fuck about anything else, and it will. But if I take my meds, then if I think about it, I'm like, I wouldn't ever do this.
Yeah, and the shitty thing is people are gonna be like, okay, what do you mean you lost your fiance and your mom and your family? Like, you still have so much else to live for. Or like, not my family, I mean by just my mom. And they'll be like, oh, but you have other family, like your grandparents and stuff like that. Like, no offense, but I can pretty much say that my entire life isn't wrapped around everything else.
All the family and all of everything else.
Just you and my mom. Like, I could care less what the world is anymore.
That's really all that you spend most of your time with, and that actually spends it back.
Nothing in this world would make me happy. I could, after you two would pass away, I would be like, my life's it. I would. No,
that's what I.
Probably,
yeah, we've talked about that a lot. Is what would happen if one of us passed away or something happened.
I'd grab a bottle of Jaeger and be like, 3 years, let's end it with a good one. Get some black licorice in me and end it. But I don't want people to be like, damn, maybe I should just kill myself. No, like, I try not to think about that, and I don't want you guys to be like, well, if it's that easy, or why don't I just do that then? It's like, I talk about suicide in serious form, joke form, and music form. You know, like, I talk about it seriously, I talk about it jokingly, like, you know how we both do, like, haha, like, oh, I'll just kill myself then. But I don't mean that. And if I know someone's truly suicidal, that's like on the edge,
we know never, not to make it a.
But and then I love, you know, the group Suicide Boys, but they've taken that suicide, the word suicide, and turned it into something else. Like, they have nothing else to do, like, to live for in their life, and they've admitted it. The two cousins decided, we're going to make music, and if it doesn't work out, we're killing ourselves. But they talk about suicide and death in so much of their songs that other suicidal people have heard it, and it's actually helped them with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I look at talking about suicide can also help somebody that is going through that.
I think talking about any type of problems,
depression,
it always
anxiety,
helps somebody.
Yeah, no matter what it is. If you're going through something like that and you feel like you can't reach out to anyone, just remember someone else is going through the same fucking shit.
It's somebody else is going through it, but I've never quite understood that, because it's like, I could be going through depression right now, and I could have an amazing fiance in my life and an amazing mother-in-law and my work that I'm doing, a home, everything, and you know, somebody else could be going through it or be going through it worse. But the thing is that that's them. This is me. Yeah. I'm worried about me and what, not to sound rude, but I'm not worried about what they're going through, because I have to get through what I'm going through first. But then it's like, I personally feel like, well, I'm going to sound like a hypocrite at the moment, but I feel like if you're in a life where you're constantly depressed and you're thinking about suicide, you have got to get out of that, or it's not going to change. If you're always thinking about just like ending your life, or how much your life is just fucking shit, or you just like, you wish it was different, or like, you know, you can't ever find a fucking relationship because this and that, or the person you were in love with just fucking broke. Like, if life is literally that much shit, or the people that's around you, or it's work, whatever's making you depressed, maybe you need to fucking scratch it all out and go start over. Fucking leave that fucking job, go to a different fucking job, fucking move, fucking get away from your friends, fucking change everything.
If you have a fucking headache and if you keep talking about it, nothing's gonna change. Take medicine, fix it. People do that on the daily. It's the same thing though. If you're fucking starving, you're gonna eat to feed yourself, so you're fine. If you're bored, do something.
Oh, don't even start that one.
I'm not going to. But no, like, if you're tired of listening to the same things, branch out, listen to something else. If you're tired of hearing the same things, listen to something else. Like, if you are deep down and depressed, find something to change it. Like I did. What is chat saying? Think about this, maybe.
Says, think about this. Maybe you have a death wish, not suicidal. There is a difference between the two. It is true. There is
Yeah.
a difference, but when
I'm reading that, when I think of death wish, I'm not talking about the skateboarding brand, but when I think of death wish, I think of like wishing upon death across somebody else, or it could mean you want to die,
but you don't want to kill yourself.
Yeah, and you don't want to actually physically die, but you would feel like you'd be a lot happier.
I feel that. I feel that too.
And I mean, I think a lot of people do. You know, a lot of people in their life wish they can start over. You know, and it's the fear of not knowing what happens after you die. And I know people have their religions and stuff like that, and I can't bash that. But we're human. We each have a brain, and we think about different things on the daily. Like, people believe their own things, and people do things differently on the day.
Just like how people are going to go about these type of situations too.
People will listen to this podcast and totally not get any of it, but some people will, because our brains work on two different, what we go through in life might be different from somebody else's, and they will not.
But what we go through works for us.
Yeah,
you got into this relationship with me not knowing what happened in my past, and you got in this relationship
and you
not knowing what it was gonna be like, and not knowing how hardcore it was, or having to deal with like, oh my god, I literally am having to take a 30-year-old that has been abusing her past to the doctor to go get medication, because if she's not on the medication, she's going fucking psycho. Or she's completely depressed, and every time I ask her, what do you want to do? Nothing, I just want to kill myself. Oh my god, like, it just goes in a rotating circles. Like, you would have not known from day one that this is what it was going to be being in a relationship with somebody going through this.
I totally thought you were someone else than what you truly are, but I can honestly say that I'm glad that I get you than the person I thought you were going to be.
Right. But also because of you, I've gotten through a whole lot of it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Even though today, I don't know why in the world neither of us thought, you're going through this, maybe you need to pop one of your pills. Like, I just realized that didn't faze me.
I try to, like, not go to medicine right away when I'm next to you. If I was at class or, like, at work. And
no, because I can't start that one without you, because we don't know if I'm going to have a reaction from it.
I would have Ubered home. You know that.
Oh, hell no. You're going to be sitting right next to me.
I'm just saying.
But it's not too bad. Within like the process of me going through what I go through and what I have to deal with and blah blah blah, he knows when I'm sad or I'm upset or when I have anxiety or when I'm depressed. He's like figuring that out, and he's learning the ways of how to get me out of it or to fix it, even if it does take some time. But I mean, today took a little bit longer, but then look where we're at now.
You have it a lot easier, because I don't show and I don't go through a lot of depression and anxiety as much.
I just want to the point to where I don't.
Yeah, I know. Mine turns into anger, and that's a topic. That's another podcast topic that would be really well. But my depression and anxiety turns to anger. Even though I don't take it out on you physically, you do hear my mouth. But it's not verbally abusive.
Oh, no. We don't have that type of relationship.
Yeah, no.
You're just an angry monster.
I'm angrier on games sometimes. But we went over 45, but it's okay. We're coming up to 50, almost an hour.
Yeah.
And we covered all three. But,
we did.
Yeah, no.
I think we kind of just talked about it. Yeah. I can't really give advice about it, because I feel like everybody has to figure it out on their own. My only advice is not go get help. You need to find the right type of help that's for you. Therapy and counseling does not always work for everybody. Doctors do not always work for everybody. Literally. So you've got to figure out where your happiness is, and then balance out what you can do. Mine is obviously my painting, but I ain't gonna fucking paint if I'm in these moods.
There's always something in life that's gonna take the negatives out and distract you from it all. And mine's gaming, of course, and sometimes that interferes with our relationship. And Illy's is painting and her hobbies and stuff. But everybody, there's gonna be something that you love in life. And if you can't, and if you can't do it,
snacks,
find something else. There's always a lot.
Stella Rosa.
Download Pinterest today. Shout out Pinterest. Download Pinterest today and find something new that you like on there. Something that you've always wanted to do, like a new hobby or something like that, or a new project. And look up ideas about it and do it. You know? There's my tip for today.
That sounds like fun.
Find something that distracts you for the time being. If you're going through any depression or anxiety, find something that distracts you from it and keep working on that.
Get away from all the negativity.
Find new friends if you have to. If you feel like
that's a big one.
Yeah, if you find yourself,
if you're in a depression and you're hanging around people that are just not good for you, that's not gonna make you better.
Fuck no. I dropped a lot of my friends that were.
We see our friends very often.
Yeah.
And we also don't have very many. Well, I mean, like every other week. What is this going to like? Has it been a few weeks since our last barbecue?
Yeah, it's been about 2 weeks.
We have a handful that are coming, and that's the type of group of friends that we love. Like the people that come to our barbecue is the people that we literally love to have in our life. And we're very appreciative of them. And we also see them like once a week or once every 2 weeks.
But that little bit of time that we see them, it makes up for a lot. You know,
it does, because I feel like when you over involve yourself in your friends' lives, you're involving all their stuff that's going on theirs inside yours, and now it's being sat on your shoulders, and it's like, oh my god, find
some new friends. It's not that hard, you know. If you feel like you're too ugly to have a friend, just remember there's probably someone that feels the same way, so make a new friend.
Huh? My energy's coming
guys,
back.
Let's
no.
You don't want to end today's podcast. We're gonna watch a movie and get cake though.
I'm not driving.
Well, we got 30 minutes. So everybody, if you found this podcast to be helpful in any way, shape, and form, make sure to hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, comment below, shoot us a message either on YouTube or Instagram
or on an email.
Yes.
The email is finally up. It's just at They Think We
Talk.
Don't listen to me.
They Think
We Talk at yahoo.com.
Yeah. Tell us how we did today. If you enjoyed it, if you felt like it fixed something in your life, or you feel like it possibly could.
Yay, give us a big thumbs up. Illy didn't cry on camera.
We almost
through
both
this.
Cried together.
I know. Then we had to start laughing.
Yeah. But make sure to let us know, maybe if you guys want to share a little bit of your story or anything that you feel comfortable with, and just open up. You know, we're here for a reason, and that's to help with any kind of issue that you might have in your life.
I'll give you a great big hug like this.
Yeah. And if you ever see us in person, make sure to hug this girl, because, yeah.
So this is the look that happens.
Yeah.
Don't touch me.
But anyway, guys, have a beautiful night.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to try something here. Before we end this, I'm going to give a shout out. And I'm going to say, if you are watching this, please comment down below, because I'm going to try to figure out who you are. If you are the female that works at Starbucks off of Acres, and you know our order every single morning, and you get all giddy about it, but then you get shy at the window, I want to know if we know you and we just don't remember, or if you're one of our followers, because it keeps blowing my mind.
Yeah.
And I feel like you might be on our social media, so if it is you,
you know what to do.
Please comment down below, because I'm going to embarrass you at work if you don't. Tell you every time we roll up every morning and I barely say, yeah, I want 2 venti. She goes, let me guess, peppermint green teas. And I'm like, yes. She knows, but I don't know if we know you or if you're a follower, but.
Yeah. Episode 4, anxiety, depression, suicide. Boom.
Done. Bucket list check off.
Yes.
Woo, woo.
Have a great night, everybody.
No.
And maybe a beautiful morning if it's fucking you're watching from across the world. Who knows?
Let's dance.
Oh my god.
It's a dance party. Woo, woo.
All right, guys.
Get it.
Have a beautiful
night.
night.
Want to do it again?
No. I'm taking this button away from you.
My kitties fell off.
But have a beautiful night, guys. Enjoy the rest of your guys' evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you are. Hopefully this helped you out today in any way, shape, and form. We will catch you guys tomorrow Our microphone should be here tomorrow.
Really?
Possibly, yes. It's 1 day overnight shipping.
Oh shit, we getting new microphones.
But there could be a possibility that could come the next day. Who knows? And she gets a new stand. But
why? What's wrong with mine?
you're gonna get one of these.
I must have not listened to you today.
Yeah.
And we needed.
Oh fuck.
We need to do that.
Yeah. Anyway, have a good one, guys.
No.
We are. They think.
No.
We
need to talk.
Have a beautiful night, guys. Love y'all. Take it easy.
See you tomorrow.
Yes. All that good shit.